Welcome to Carpe Analysis, the Trauma Diaries number 6. Just sit back with a glass of sweet tea. Let's see how I did, and more importantly, how the bullets performed out of my Lone Star Armory TX-15 multi-purpose carbine enhanced, through which I'll be firing Remington Core-Lokt 120 grain bullets from Druid Hill Armory loaded in the Starline brass, at least for this opening shot. Alright, coming up at 120 yards. These follow-up shots, of course, are going to be with one of the SST factory ammunition. In real time, things happen pretty fast, so we're going to be taking a look at all of this in slow motion. But first of all, let's take a look at the hogs that are down.
Brass Catcher by Tactical Brass Recovery.
The first hog down was a 180-pound boar with a second hog down behind it. The next hog is a 150-pound sow that was dropped, and then another 150-pound sow. Okay, looking at this opening shot, we've got two hogs that are going to come into alignment. This is a close-up showing about where I was aiming, which happens to be where the bullet impacts. Here you can see the distant hog has gone down first. And all the hogs run. Looking at the first hog that was a bore, the shot went through the skull, exiting right here. And the second hog, seen here, got up and ran away. The Remington Core-Lokt bullet entered at the base of the ear on the left side, transited the skull, exit out the opposite side with a fairly large hole that I could actually finger probe, feeling into the brain cavity, with about 4 inches of over-penetration before striking the next hog that also went down. Picking up runners is always a challenge, as you have to assess speed, direction of travel, and distance, and I just have too much lead given those parameters. That shot sails by the head, and I pick up the hog with this next shot, striking it high in the center of the back. And the hog goes down with a spinal injury. The bullet impacting, going through the spine, and then exiting out on the opposite side of the spine. And once the hog was down, it was still alive, so follow-up shot. The first follow-up shot was a solid hit, but the hog is still making noise, so another follow-up shot is delivered. And the hog quiets. Both front legs were broken, but at the time I only noticed the entry wound here, which is for the second follow-up shot. I did not look for the first follow-up shot's entry. And then I have an exit on the opposite side that I believe is from the second follow-up shot as well. The first hit on the hog was a little far back, but it went through the spine, dropping the hog in place, doing what it needed to do to stop the hog so that I could finish it off with the following shots. Now, when hogs run, they tend to move up and down quite a bit, and you don't always get a shot that impacts exactly where you were lined up, and that's the case right here. You can see where I'm aiming. This is where the shot impacted, the yellow dot, which is a good bit lower than where I'm actually aiming, and that's because of the motion of the hog. But that shot did go through the brain, entering right here behind the ear for a quartering away shot. And given the amount of blood coming out of the mouth and that pooled in the ear, certainly the brain cavity and lower cranium was involved in the damage. A good shot despite all the vertical motion of the hog while it ran. And here's the last bore in real time. This shot was taken from about 35 feet higher up in elevation, and the hog did not immediately quiet. And so I felt it needed a follow-up shot. And then it stilled. I thought this hog would be larger, but it was only a 140-pound boar. Now looking at the shots in slow motion, the first shot, it's going to enter the left side of the head. I like these shots because even if the hog moves, I'm going to get a head shot, a neck shot, or a torso shot, or some combination thereof. Apparently this first shot hit a blood vessel, as there's an immediate spurt of blood coming out of the hog before it collapsed. I did not find an exit wound. All the blood appeared to come out of the entry wound right here. As the hog has been moving around for too long, it's going to get a follow-up shot right here. It's It's hard to tell where I am aiming, but that's actually, again, on the skull. And actually impacts the opposite side of the skull, just under the eye, breaking the zygomatic arch, and then going down into the neck. And if you look closely, you'll notice there's not a lot of blood around this wound. I suspect that is because the hog is largely bled out by this point. No doubt the first shot was lethal, dropping the hog in place and causing extensive bleeding, and the second shot just simply rendered the hog unconscious and finished it off. Carpe sus, my friends.